Your website has just a few seconds to make an impact. In fact, studies show it's close to 7 seconds. That's all the time you've got to grab someone's attention and make them decide whether to stick around or move on. Those first few moments are critical, and getting them right can be the difference between gaining a new client or losing them forever. So why does that first impression matter so much? It's simple. If your website captures attention quickly and communicates its value clearly, you're much more likely to turn casual visitors into engaged clients. But here's the thing. Achieving that isn't just about having flashy graphics or clever wording. It's about a combination of clarity and visual appeal, working together to make your business look professional, trustworthy, and worth exploring further. Hi, my name is Steve Black with Content for Coaches, and in this episode we're going to dive into the key elements of making a strong first impression with your website. I'll cover everything from crafting the perfect headline to using visuals that resonate and ensuring your site offers a seamless user experience. By the end, you'll have the tools to create a homepage that doesn't just look good, but also works hard for your business. Let's get started. Why first impressions matter? Look, attention spans are shorter than ever. According to a study by the Nielsen Norman Group, users often leave a web page in under 20 seconds, and that means you've got just a few seconds to make an impression that counts. What your website says and how it looks during that brief window is critical. It's make or break for capturing and keeping the attention of potential clients. Your website is essentially the face of your business online. And when you've done it well, it's a powerful tool that conveys professionalism, trustworthiness, and competence. But on the flip side, a confusing or cluttered homepage can have the opposite effect. People won't stick around to dig through a mess. They'll bounce before they even figure out what you offer. And that's a missed opportunity. So why do first impressions really matter for your website? First off, a solid first impression establishes trust. A clean, well-designed site immediately signals to visitors that your business is credible and professional. And trust me, people are more likely to take your services seriously if they feel confident in your brand from the moment they land on your page. Think about it like meeting someone for the first time in person. If they show up looking disorganized or unclear about who they are, it's hard to take them seriously. Your website works the same way. It's your first digital handshake. Then there's the clarity of your message. A strong first impression clarifies your message. When your value proposition is clear within seconds, people immediately understand how you can help them. And that clarity keeps them on your site, exploring further. It's all about making sure your visitors don't have to guess at what you offer. They know right away, and that makes them more likely to stick around. Finally, an attractive, easy to navigate site increases engagement. The longer people stay on your site, the better your chances of converting them into clients or customers, or even just adding them to your list. A visual, appealing, user-friendly website encourages them to engage with your content, whether that's reading your blog, exploring your services, or signing up for a consultation. And more engagement often leads to higher conversion rates. Think of your website's homepage as your digital handshake. Take a moment to ask yourself, does it clearly communicate what you offer, or is it wet and limp? Does it inspire trust with those first few critical seconds? And if the answer is no, or even I'm not sure, then it might be time for a refresh. Small tweaks can make a big difference in capturing that all-important first impression. It all comes down to making sure your website not only looks great, but also functions as a clear, trustworthy entry point into your business. Because in the online world, first impressions aren't just important, they could mean everything to your business. Now, there are three main areas I'm going to talk about today. 1, crafting a clear and compelling headline. 2, the visual appeal. And 3, a user-friendly experience. Finally, I'll end up with some things you can do immediately to make your site welcoming and have your target market staying for more. Let's start with the headline. The headline on your website is more than just a few words slapped at the top of your homepage. It's your first introduction to a visitor. That make or break moment that determines whether they stick around or hit that back or X button. Think about it like this. Your headline is the elevator pitch of your website, but without the pressure of being stuck in a small space. You have a few seconds to communicate who you are, what you offer, and why it matters. When we talk about crafting a clear headline that doesn't just sit there, but actually does the heavy lifting. First and foremost, be clear and direct. Now, it might be tempting to get creative with fancy phrasing, but clarity is key. You want people to immediately understand what you do. No guessing games. Let's say you run a marketing agency, and instead of something vague like helping small businesses grow, which could mean anything, be specific. A clearer headline would be helping small businesses increase revenue with targeted marketing strategies. See the difference? Right away, I know who you help and how you do it. It's direct, it's to the point, and it leaves no room for confusion. Next, focus on value. People visiting your site want to know what's in it for me. Your headline should answer that question. What benefit do you bring to the table? Think about the core problem you solve and how your services improve your clients' businesses or lives. For instance, instead of just saying social media marketing services, try get more clients with our proven social media strategies. It's not just what you do, but how it will help them. Now they know they're not just getting a service, but they're getting results. And keep it simple. Your headline doesn't have to do everything at once. Resist the urge to cram in too much. The headline's job is to deliver the main message. Short, sharp, and focused is the way to go. A headline like "Build a stronger online presence and drive sales" says a lot with little. It highlights the service and the benefit in one clean sentence. Now, sometimes you might need a little bit more space to explain what you do, and that's where the subheading comes in handy. Your headline grabs attention, and your subheading gives just a little more context. For example, if your headline is "Helping e-commerce brands boost sales," you could add a subheading like "With custom digital marketing solutions tailored for your needs." It keeps things clear, but also lets you expand on the details without overwhelming the headline. Now next, I want to talk about the importance of how your website looks. When someone lands on your website, they're not just taking in the words, they're absorbing the entire visual experience. It's like walking into a room for the first time. You instinctively notice the decor, the colors, the vibe. Your website is no different. The visual appeal of your site plays a huge role in shaping that crucial first impression. In fact, people form opinions about your business within seconds based on how it looks. Yes, I know, don't judge a book by its cover. I'm sorry, that's not going to work in the online world. That's why high quality visuals, clean design, and a cohesive brand aesthetic are so important. They convey professionalism, trustworthiness, and perhaps most importantly, they give people a reason to stay. Let's break it down. First, you want to use professional images and videos. Nothing says amateur quite like a blurry photo or a generic stock image that everyone's seen 100 times. The visuals on your site should feel like they belong to you. Now, if you can, invest in custom photography or video that reflects your business and your team. It adds a personal touch that resonates with visitors. Let's say you're a small consulting firm. Rather than using a stock photo of people shaking hands in some random office, why not show your own team at work? Maybe an image of you meeting with a client or something that highlights the services you provide. It feels real, it feels personal, and it shows potential clients exactly what they can expect. Now, let's talk about consistent branding. This is where your choice of colors, fonts, and overall design come into play. Think about it like this. If someone walked into a store and saw a mismatched signage, off-brand logos, and colors that didn't make sense, they'd kind of be confused, right? It's the same on a website. Consistency in your branding not only makes your site look more polished, but it also reinforces your identity in the minds of your visitors. They start to associate these colors and fonts with your business, which builds recognition over time. One of the biggest things you could do is create a simple, clean layout. Have you ever visited a website where you don't know where to look first because there's so much going on? Too many elements, pop-ups, flashing buttons, and walls of text. It's overwhelming. And it's a one-way ticket to losing your visitors. A clean, uncluttered layout guides your visitors to the important stuff. Your message, your services, your call to action. One way to achieve this is by using white space strategically. White space is simply the empty space between elements on your site, and it gives everything a little kind of breathing room. It's like walking into a well-organized office instead of a cluttered desk piled high with papers. Or if we go back to the elevator, a small elevator versus a very large elevator that's clean, right? You feel calm, you know where to focus, and it's easier to find what you need. And don't forget mobile phones. These days, more people are browsing the web on their phones than on their desktops. And if your website isn't optimized for mobile, you're going to lose a chunk of your audience. A responsive design adjusts your site automatically to look good on any screen size, from a large desktop monitor to a small smartphone. It's all about making sure the experience is seamless, no matter how your visitors are accessing your site. If someone's scrolling through your page on their phone and the layout is clunky or the text is hard to read, they are not sticking around. Alright, now we've covered the headlines and we've covered the visuals, but there's one more thing that can make or break your website success. It's called the user experience, or UX. And by that I mean how easy and enjoyable it is for visitors to navigate and interact with your site. You might have the best services in the world, but if your website is confusing, slow, or difficult to use, people are going to leave before they even get a chance to see what you offer. So let's dig in to what makes a user-friendly experience and how can ensure your site keeps people engaged and coming back for more. First, loading speed. Nobody likes waiting for a website to load, especially in today's world where we expect everything instantly. If your site takes too long to load, your visitors will get frustrated and bounce. It's that simple. A slow website doesn't just affect user experience, it can also hurt your search engine rankings. But the good news is, small adjustments like optimizing your images or reducing the number of plugins you use can make a huge difference. Next, navigation. Your visitors should be able to find what they're looking for without having to hunt for it. Keep your navigation menu simple and clear. Think about it like road signs on a highway. People should know where they're going at a glance. Labels like services, about us, and contact are straightforward and help guide visitors to the information they need. You want to avoid jargon or overly creative titles in your navigation. Remember, it's not about impressing people with clever labels. It's about making it as easy as possible for them to move around your site. When people can find what they need quickly, they're much more likely to stick around and explore further. And one of the most important elements on your website, even on the homepage, needs to be a strong call to action, or CTA. Your CTA is what tells visitors what you want them to do next, whether that's signing up for your newsletter, scheduling a consultation, or downloading a free guide. But here's the thing, your CTA has to be clear, easy to find, and compelling. Right? Don't bury it. Don't hide it at the bottom of a long page or make it hard to see. Use bold buttons and action-oriented language that encourage visitors to take the next step. For example, instead of a generic submit button, try something like get your free consultation or download our guide now. You're not just asking them to click, you're showing them the value they'll get when they do. Now, before I move on, just a quick reminder to like this video, subscribe to the Content for Coaches channel. Don't forget to click that bell so you'll be notified when I drop new videos. So is it time to refresh your homepage? Let's take a look at the 5 things you should take a look at right now. Think of your homepage as your business's digital front door. It's the very first thing people see when they visit your website. Now, like any front door, it sets the tone for what's inside. If your homepage isn't creating the right impression or it feels a little bit outdated, it might be time to freshen things up. So how do you know if your homepage needs a refresh? The key is to ask yourself a few important questions. First, start with the headline. Does my headline clearly state what I offer? And this is where it all begins. Your headline should instantly communicate who you are and what you do. If someone has to read it twice to understand, or if it feels too vague, you might want to consider a rewrite. The best headlines are clear, direct, and offer immediate value to the reader. Next, think about your messaging. Is my message easy to understand at a glance? People don't read websites like books, they skim, especially on a homepage. If your core message isn't clear within the first few seconds, visitors will move on. Simplify your language, cut out unnecessary jargon, and make sure that the value you offer is front and center. Then, take a good look at your images or videos. Are they professional and relevant? And this one's important. High quality images and videos give your site a polished, trustworthy feel. If you're still relying on generic stock photos or content that doesn't really reflect your brand, it might be time to invest in some custom photography or video content. Remember, visuals are often the first thing people notice, so make sure they're working in your favor. After that, focus on layout. Is my website layout clean and easy to navigate? Your homepage should be easy to scan with a simple, clean design that doesn't overwhelm the visitors. Too much clutter can make it hard for people to find the information they need, which is a quick way to lose them. If your homepage feels crowded, try simplifying it by removing unnecessary elements and using white space to let your content breathe. Next, performance. Does my site load quickly, and is it mobile friendly? And this is where a lot of sites fall short. People are impatient. If your site takes too long to load, they'll bounce before they even get to see what you have to offer. Use tools like Google PageSpeed Insights to test your site's speed and make sure your site is responsive. That means it looks great and works smoothly on both desktop and mobile devices. Finally, check your call to action. Is there a strong call to action guiding visitors towards the next step? Whether you want people to sign up for a newsletter, contact you for a consultation, or download a guide, your call to action should be clear, prominent, and easy to follow. Don't bury it or let it blend into the background. Make it bold and use action-oriented language to encourage visitors to take that next step. A homepage refresh doesn't have to be a huge overhaul. It's often the small, thoughtful updates that have the greatest impact. So take the time to evaluate, make a few adjustments, and ensure that your homepage is putting your best foot forward every time a new visitor stops by. Let's make every second count. Your website only has a few seconds to make a strong first impression, and those seconds can either bring a potential client in or send them off for good. That's why it's so important to focus on those three key areas: clarity, visual appeal, and user experience. Together, these elements work to create a homepage that grabs attention, builds trust, and encourages visitors to take that next step with your business. It's not just about looking good. Although a polished headline and professional visuals certainly help, it's about making sure visitors feel confident that you're the right choice to solve their problem. When your website is clear, visually engaging, and easy to navigate, it signals to visitors that they're in the right place, and that makes them much more likely to stick around and eventually convert. So, as you continue refining your website, remember every second counts. Make those seconds work for you by delivering a strong, compelling first impression that keeps people clicking and brings them one step closer to becoming your client. This is Steve Black with Content for Coaches. Thanks for watching.